All right, now we are ready to go. Few minutes late, but there's always some unexpected technical issue that can occur when you go live. But here we are, Wind Tunnel Wednesday. I am Coach James. I am the creator and lead instructor for All About Aerodynamics. What is All About Aerodynamics? Glad you asked, even if you didn't ask. All About Aerodynamics is a science program where I use Hot Wheels cars to teach kindergarten through 6th grade students about a range of science and physics related topics, including, but not limited to, aerodynamics, drag, lift, kinetic energy, potential energy, elastic energy, downforce, whole range of science topics. After we've learned all the science topics, after we've conducted experiments to drive those concepts home, then and only then do I bring in about 400 different Hot Wheels cars. And each student has the opportunity to select a Hot Wheels car they think would be fastest in a series of races based on everything they've learned in the course. And once they have selected their car, they've examined their car, they've taken a picture of their car, they've tested the speed of their car, they've checked the year the car was manufactured. After they've done all that, then we set up a 1/64th scale quarter-mile drag strip and they race the cars. And they observe how their car performed. Did their car perform up to or below their expectations? And if they had the opportunity, would they select that car again? And we use Hot Wheels cars. We have fun. We learn about science. What could be better? If you would like more information about our science program and how to bring it to your school, or your organization, or your special event, you can check the link in the bio if you are viewing on Instagram or Twitch, or you can just go to our website. Link is right up there, aerodynamics.com, and you can find out more information about the program. And there's also an online offering, so even if you're outside the Southern California area, you can participate, and your students can enjoy all the benefits of learning about physics and using Hot Wheels cars. But this is not all about aerodynamics. This is all about aerodynamics Wind Tunnel Wednesday. So what is Wind Tunnel Wednesday? I have purchased the 1/64th scale wind tunnel made by Funtech Labs, and it is called the Windsible. And we are going to put Hot Wheels cars into the wind tunnel, turn it on. We'll see how the air flows over, under, and around those cars. Why are we doing that? Because not only do we want to see how the air moves over, under, and around the cars, but on Saturdays, we race the cars. That's our program at the track live, and viewers have the opportunity to select a Hot Wheels car they would like to see race on our track. And all you have to do is select your car, and then I will pull the car, and we'll take it to the track, and it will race against the new cars that I'm introducing into the All About Aerodynamics fleet. And to pick your car, all you have to do is go to the address below at thetrack.live. There will be 3 options. There's one option for the Twitch stream link, another option for the YouTube stream link, but the third link, the third, arguably most important link, is the one that says choose your car. If you select that option, you will be taken to this page. And on this page, all of the cars that are currently in the All About Aerodynamics at the Track Live fleet are listed. They are cataloged. They are available for you to select. And all you have to do is take the number of the car that you want to choose. So let's say you think that this 66 Ford Fairlane GT is going to be the fastest car, or a car that's faster than one of the other cars that I have introduced. You can click on that car, you can take a look at it, you can see from the reflection whether or not it is a metal body on a plastic base or a plastic body on a metal base. And in some cases of our older cars, we actually have cars that are metal on metal. And those are heavier cars that tend not to do as well on our track, but they are available to be picked. So before you pick your car to race on Saturday, what you can do is go through our list, find cars that you're thinking about possibly picking, and select those cars. You select one of those cars, I can pull it out and we will put it in the wind tunnel, and you can take a look at how the air flows over, under, and around that car. And maybe, just maybe, that might influence the car that you decide to pick to race. And we have fantasy cars, we have cars based off of real cars. We have, I mean, just in this picture, this scene alone, we've got a Batmobile. We've got a fantasy car, that Track Ripper. This one with the black and white stripes and the turquoise and the pink accents on the wheels. This is a very popular car among the students. It almost always gets picked. It tends not to be the fastest car, but it does well enough. If you're more into actual cars, we've got a 2018 Honda Civic Type R. And we have lots of cars that are based on real cars. Then the more ridiculous character cars, such as the Hot Weiler. And this one, with this kind of coyote wolf front end, has a little gimmick underneath that when it's rolling, the hood / top of the mouth bounces up and down like it is chewing, and it makes an interesting little rattling noise going down the track. It doesn't help it in terms of speed. In fact, it most likely hurts it, but that is one of the cars to pick from. We've got a 69 Corvette, we've got X-Racers, and we've had a couple of X-Racer cars that have been the fastest in fleet. So there may be something to that. I don't know if there's anything necessarily different with the construction of these cars. Are the axles, those nickel-plated axles that we've seen on the, for example, like on the Gold Hot Ones cars? I don't know, but we've had some good performance out of these X-Racer style cars. So if that's a car that you want to pick to race, then if this Ferrari 360 Modena X-Racer is the car that you want, the number is 94. So you would take that number, you would drop it into the chat, and then I would pull that car, and on Saturday it will be entered into the tournament and we will race the car. If you want to see how it performs in the wind tunnel, then you can take that number, drop it in the chat now, and I will put it in the wind tunnel along with the cars that I have lined up. And if the car that you select happens to be faster than all of the other cars that get introduced, then you'll have an opportunity to take on our fastest in fleet car. And currently our fastest in fleet car is this one. It is the Gazella R. And let me zoom on in there. Get this focus locked in. The Gazella R has been the fastest car in our fleet for the last 16 weeks. This Saturday, it is going for its 17th victory, and it will be challenging the former fastest in fleet car, which was this one. It was the Blitz Speeder. The Blitz Speeder was the most dominant car in our fleet for 17 weeks. And then along came the Gazella R and beat it out. Our races are best 2 out of 3. The Gazella took 2 races. The Blitz Speeder took 1. So the Gazella has been so dominant the last 16 weeks that going back to early December, late November, early December, it's been so dominant that we decided that if the Gazella made it to 17 weeks as champion, then we would have a head-to-head matchup. It would be Gazella versus Blitz Speeder. And there were a couple of moments where it looked a little close. There were some cars that were pretty fast, looked like they might have a shot, but they didn't get the job done. And so this Saturday we will be having the champion versus former champion rematch. It will be the Gazella versus the Blitz Speeder to find out which car is in fact our fastest in fleet champion. So that matchup is coming up. So since it is coming up, we decided, you know what? I'm going to put the Blitz Speeder into the wind tunnel, and let's take a look at how it is. But first we'll put the Gazella in the wind tunnel, just so that we can have a car to compare the other results to. So we know that the Gazella R is our fastest car in the fleet. So we should be able to look at the results and how the air flows over, under, and around the Gazella, and then see what the results are with other cars and see whether or not the results are comparable. So let's go ahead and get the air flowing here. All right, so this is at simulated 53 miles an hour. And we're going to see here, let me bring this down just a little bit. All right, so this is at 80 miles an hour. And up to 107. And one thing that we notice when we put the Gazella in the wind tunnel is how the air flows. That first level of air, when it hits the front and starts to flow up over the body, how the air remains, it doesn't separate from the body like it does on other cars with sort of worse aerodynamic profiles. So now we're at 147 miles per hour. And still, you don't see much separation till we get back in this area, starting to see a little. But when we compare it to some of the other cars, it's definitely not as significant. So let's crank this up. We've got it up to 174 miles per hour simulated. And again, you still don't see much separation. The air is coming right up here, right after it hits the hood, goes to the windshield, right up over the top, and kind of slides down to the back. And the Gazella does have this wing, and you see the turbulent air there in the back. But until we get to this back area, which you'll see with most of the cars, and especially the ones with the big diffusers, it might be a little higher up, this turbulent air, but you're not seeing it in this area. There's nothing impeding the car, so it's reducing the impact of drag. And let's go up to 200 miles an hour. And again, at the back end here, you see a little bit of separation, but it's still not as pronounced as what we'll see with some of the other cars. So this is the Gazella, and that's our fastest in fleet car. That is the fastest car that we have. And really, it's the fastest car, not only that we have, it's the fastest car that we've seen on the track, really at any point. And it's been impressive. Now the question is, can it defeat the Blitz Speeder again? And that is the question. So let's wind this down here. Bring this back down. And so the Gazella is undoubtedly our fastest car. Can it beat the Blitz Speeder again? And we'll find that out this Saturday at 11 a.m. Pacific on At the Track Live. And if the Gazella does happen to beat the Blitz Speeder, then we are definitely going to have a hard time finding a car to beat the Gazella, because we've been trying, and viewers have been picking cars that they think could get the job done, and it just has not happened yet. I mean, a lot of these races have not been close. I said the races are best 2 out of 3, and the Gazella has lost maybe 2 races so far, 2 or 3, but it hasn't lost 2 out of the 3. There was a car, the Whipped Creamer 2, that took a race from it, and then there was the Slide Kick that also took a race. Let me see if I can close this without the car rolling forward. Let me just tilt it back. Try it that way. Let's see. Might need to put a little wedge under the front. Some of these cars will not stay where I placed them, but it's when this lid snaps closed to create a good seal so that the fluid doesn't leak out, and this should do it right there. There we go. All right. Hey, Rough Shot, how's it going? I've got your 2 jets lined up and ready to take a look at that. But let's see how the Blitz Speeder, how it compares to what we just saw with the Gazella in terms of the airflow. And it's right now at simulated 80 miles per hour. And let's bring this down just a little. And let's move it up. We're at 94. Now, one thing that we see with the Blitz Speeder that we didn't see so much with the Gazella is you can see there's air. It's kind of trailing off. It comes up here and it's trailing off the sides. And right now we're at a simulated 107 miles per hour. I'm going to try and move the camera so that you can possibly see. It's very faint on the camera, but it's in this area here that the air is coming up over the top and it's pulling off. And see over the top. It's not as pronounced as on some of the other cars, but it is happening. But that's at 107 miles per hour. Let's go up a little faster. Up at 134. And again, we're seeing some turbulence here in the front, something we didn't see with the Gazella. And the Gazella does have a splitter in the front, which is, intended to direct airflow. So the front of the Gazella, we don't see any of this turbulence. And up on top, for the most part, the airflow, it's not detaching from the body. But let's go up, turn the speed up. Now we're at 161 miles per hour simulated, and there's not a significant amount of detachment, but there is the airflow because the point of the Blitz Speeder, or the front of the Blitz Speeder, is a little more curved, has a little more going on than the Gazella. The Gazella was pretty flat right up front, but the Blitz Speeder has a little bit more going on, and it's just not, the airflow isn't as clean, and which suggests that there's going to be slightly more drag. And as close as the races were with these two cars the last time, that could make the difference. And there's a number of factors that go into how the cars perform on the track, but any little difference, any little advantage that one car has over the other, yeah, roughshod, like you're saying, that's all that could be needed. Just whatever the slightest advantage is. So, again, the airflow, it's not that there's a lot of drag. It's just that it's definitely not as clean as it was with the Gazella. And this is at 188 simulated miles. Here's 201. And I'm just saying again, right here at the front, and then the back end turbulence isn't as significant, in my opinion, because with real cars, the wings, I guess we could count this as a wing, even though it's a glorified spoiler. But we'll go ahead with the wing there, and they're usually used to create downforce, and I don't know how important downforce is with these Hot Wheels cars, only because when real cars are creating downforce, it's to get grip, and the tires are gripping the road. There's additional friction there, and yes, would be the case even with these cars, but how much additional friction is going to be created by the downforce with these plastic wheels on the plastic track? Probably some, definitely some, but I don't know if it's going to play, that it plays as important a role as it does with some of the other cars. So we have the Blitz Speeder, which was our former fastest in fleet car, and it was our champion for 17 weeks. And this week we are going to find out if the Blitz Speeder can come back and beat the Gazella and take its title back. But like I said, at the Track Live, you have the opportunity to select a car that you would like to see race, and all you have to do is go to atthetrack.live. You select the choose a car option, and it will take you right over to this page. And on this page, all you have to do is scroll through, find the car that you think would be faster than the cars that I've already introduced. And once you do that, no problem. You just take the number of the car that you want. If you think it is, I'm going to just pull a number out, car 202. Let's go see what that is. Car 202. This one. If you think this 1996 Chevy 1500 pickup is going to be faster than the other cars that have been introduced, all you have to do is take the number. You can click on it, take a closer look at the car, and take that number, in this case 202, and you drop it in the chat on Saturday, and I will pull the car and we will race it. It will be a part of the tournament, and if you can pick the car that's faster than the others that are introduced, maybe you'll get to the finals. Maybe you can beat out the Blitz Speeder. Maybe you can beat out the Gazella. And maybe the car you pick will be our new fastest in fleet car. But, you know, you have to make that pick. So go to atthetrack.live, select the choose a car option, find the car, and let me know. Now, if you find a car and you drop the number in the chat today, then I will take it and put it in the wind tunnel. And based on what you've seen from the Gazella, based on what you've seen from the Blitz Speeder, two cars that you know are fast, you probably want a car with a similar aerodynamic profile. So we are going to see if you can make that choice. Roughshod has already made his choice. His choice is this one. It is the two Jets, and it is going to be in our tournament this Saturday. It's going to hit the track, and I'd suggest that everybody tune in, because this is a light open wheel car, and light open wheel cars tend to have short shelf lives on our track. They we've seen in the past that they have been shot out of our custom launcher at such a high rate of speed with so much force that they come out, and if they don't get a good solid launch, they veer off to the side, they hit the barrier, one of the barriers on the side of our track, and with the open wheel situation, these wheels are the first things to hit the barrier. And if these wheels hit the barrier with the force those cars come out with, then it's all over for the axle. So this might be the grand opening and grand closing for the two jets, but we're going to take it to the track. And who knows, it might be a sleeper car. It might be able to stay right on the track. It might be able to take out and upset this champion versus champion rematch that we have set up. So we're going to take a look. We're going to put it in the wind tunnel and go ahead and see what we've got here. And one thing before we put it in there is just looking at the shape, and it's got this almost, we want to, I'm always trying to look, you want to look for a teardrop effect. That's the most aerodynamic shape there is. I see a little bit of that, a little bit. So let's go ahead and put it in the wind tunnel and see what it looks like. All right, we've got the two jets, I think with a Z on the end. Let's get this car situated, lined up properly, and take a look and see how the two jets is. We'll check out the aerodynamics on this car. So here we go. Let's get this thing turned up. So here we are at 40 miles an hour. And up to 67 miles an hour. And like, even though there's turbulence at the back, it's very, I like that we're not really seeing too much of an issue in this area of the car, and that's important. We've got this little piece that sticks up here. Let's turn it up. Let's get the air flowing a bit more. So now we are up to 94 miles per hour. Yeah, yeah, it's risky. Yeah, the competition requires it. You've got to make those bold moves because we've seen just how the Gazella has performed, and who knows, we may be going back to the Blitz Speeder as champion, but there's odds are that there's a car in there that's faster, and it might be one of the unconventional picks that nobody would previously have thought of. But so with this, we're up to 121 miles per hour, and what we're seeing is that airflow, and looking at this first stream coming up over the top, we're not really seeing a lot of separation. It's not clear exactly. I'm trying to see what's going on the back end. I may not have it lined up. Let's take a look over the top. Okay, so I'm going to have to make that adjustment a little bit because we can see that the air's flowing here, but the car is not lined up straight, so it's kind of going off to this side. So I need to line it up so that it hits right there in the middle. So I just need to push that back end over to the side a little bit more so we can see what happens when the air actually comes directly over the top. And go ahead and make that little minor adjustment. And let me look over the top, push that just over this way. There we go. All right, I think it's lined up a little better now, so we should be able to see exactly what happens with the air and when it touches and interacts with this little piece that's sticking up right there. So let's go ahead and fire up the wind tunnel again. And Now we definitely have the air coming over the top. They're at 80 miles per hour. Now, behind this front wheel, in this area, we can see there's some air kind of coming from underneath the car and coming up, and then it's running into this this piece here that's kind of sticking out from the side. And just like with the blitz speeder, how much of a difference will that make? And we're at 80. Let's turn this up. We're up to 107 miles per hour, and you can see the air hitting the front. There's some turbulence there, and then the air that's coming underneath the front is popping out of this little open area behind the wheel and coming up along the sides of the car, and then there's this, whatever that little piece sticking out is. And then over the top, we're not really seeing that this little piece is creating too much of an issue. So we are, but back here, once the air on the bottom is hitting this section, and it looks a little questionable. And then I don't know if that is open. If this area inside here is open and the air is flowing through, do see a little bit of air in this back area kind of moving through, but for the most part seems all right. Let's turn this up, turning it up to 147 miles per hour and seeing how the air is interacting. 378, the carbide. I'm going to grab that one. And we can see it's not, there's just more, we can see significant, well, let's go up. That was at 147 miles per hour. Let's take it all the way up, because our cars are coming out of the launcher with a lot of force. And you can see the faster that the air is moving, the faster that these cars are moving through the air. There's a lot more turbulence than I think we would have expected. And that was up at 188 miles per hour. So that was the two jets. And we are taking a look here and going to see if that is the car that Roughshod ends up sticking with, or if he decides to go with this other pick that we will take a look at here, the carbide. So that so Roughshod was asking about the point of contact on the back of the two jets car, and it is not ideal. I will show you in this, I'll just point it out here. That is it. It's just got that one little pipe on top and something on the bottom, a little jet. But it's just got that little exhaust. That's basically it. And so that is the two jets, and this is the carbide. This is the other car that he's considering, and this is the way to go. Is just check these cars out, get a little bit more information before you make your final pick. You can always go to atthetrack.live, and you can scroll through the cars after you select the choose your car option. Find the car that you want, let me know, and I will take it and throw it in the wind tunnel. This one, it's definitely more of a fantasy car situation. kind of a fantasy F1 car. And let's see, is the driver's area, is this open? Yes, it is. There's a little open area, but it does have a kind of a little canopy around the driver that should probably direct the airflow in a pretty positive way. Looking around at the styling, again, seeing that kind of teardrop style, that angular F1 shape. So this could be definitely a solid pick, and we will throw it into the wind tunnel and see what we get. Now the back end is curved right there, but there's still a bit of enough of an edge that it should get a pretty decent launch, I would think. But let's take it to the wind tunnel and see what we can see. And is this the car? This car may be the one to come out of nowhere and beat out our two former champs. Get that car lined up right there. This is the Carbide, and we'll see what it's going to do in the wind tunnel. All right, and here we go. Oh, let's get this thing fired up. All right, so we're at 26. Let's get this turned up. Oh, I wonder if I'm out of the fluid. I'll show you how this works. So there is a menu here. That's for the illumination. Don't need that. Go here. Get back to that menu. Illumination, tail light, emission speed, fog fluid remaining. And it says we have 72 minutes worth of fluid remaining, so that seems okay. So let's go ahead and try this again. All right, so now we're up to 40 miles an hour with the Carbide. And let's move it up a little bit. 53, 67. We're at 80. And so far, I like what we're seeing. We've got not a lot of separation. Turn this up. 94. Now we do see the separation in this area right here in the back, but it's not too bad. 107 miles per hour. Good solid airflow. 121, 134, and this is looking good. Still not seeing a ton of separation. Just a little bit here, and it does have that slight little peak, that we see on the F1 cars, but not significant. So we're at 147. Let's go up to 161. Take it to 174. Now we're up to 188. Still not seeing a ton of turbulent air, which is always a good sign. At least if we use the Gazella R and we use the Blitz Speeder and their results. So again, we're seeing just a little bit of separation here, and then we have that sort of hood piece, and then the air kind of takes off from there. I think if this little hood piece wasn't there, we would see what we see with the Gazella and the Blitz Speeder, where the air just flows continuously over the body until it leaves the back of the car. but still, this is not bad. Not bad at all. So then ultimately, it will just be a question of, is it the two jets with its more sort of unconventional look and setup and smaller size, and the two jets, it appears to be metal on metal, so that should give it a little bit of weight. Or will Roughshod ultimately end up going with the carbide? Oh, he says he's staying with the two jets. Okay, so the carbide came in. It had a good solid look in the wind tunnel, but he decided that he was staying with the two jets, and so we're gonna see how that works out. And the next car that we're gonna throw into the wind tunnel is pretty strange, but I have a reason for picking it. And it is this one. It's this Cadillac. I think it's the name of the car is like V18, something like that. I guess I can just look. It's the Cadillac V16. I was two off. So the V16, and the reason why I pulled this one is because, as I mentioned earlier, a teardrop is the most aerodynamic shape there is. So kind of looking for cars that have some of that going on. And if I stop this and turn this back to the side, at least from the side profile, this huge cartoonish grill that they've added onto this car, and it just, you can see where there's a bit of a teardrop thing going on. It's huge up top, and then it kind of slims down. It does have the windshield and the driver's area, which has been pushed all the way back, but there is just a strange sort of abstract teardrop situation going on. And so I want to see how, if the air hits this front and if it flows over the top and stays connected to the body, or if it hits here and then just breaks away from the body of the car right at the beginning, because then that will let me know how important this front end of the car is, which we know the front end's important, but what happens when the air hits the front and it has to, it's not making a decision, but the air has to find a pathway over, under, and around the car. And in some of the cars with larger front areas, we just see the air just kind of swirling up at the front, and we know that that's going to slow the car down. Now with this one, it's got a huge front area, but the rest of it is pretty sleek. What will the air do once it hits this front area and slides over the top? So let's find out and throw this into the wind tunnel and find out what this Cadillac V16, which I don't even think, this isn't even a car that I would necessarily consider racing on the track. Although, if you flipped it around, it might be better off. It might be better off going in backwards than it is forward. So we'll take a look at it both ways. So let me get it lined up properly. And this is definitely one of the bigger cars that has been in the wind tunnel. So let's hope when I close this, it doesn't decide to roll forward. And it did just a little bit, but I think that'll be okay. Let's see if I can get it to roll back. Oh, now too far back. It's a bit of a game to this. because I don't want to put anything in there like a block behind the wheel, because I don't want to. I had a magnet that I used and put the cars on, and it kind of raised them up a little bit, so we got to see how the air would flow, not only just over the car, but under. But the problem was the magnet sort of impeded the airflow a bit, so I don't know if that really necessarily worked out the way I was intending, but everything's an experiment, just trying things out and seeing what happens. Alright, so let's go with this Cadillac V16, and we can see the air. So this is at 67, this is at 80 miles per hour, and we see a lot of airflow around the side, and that just speaks to what I was talking about, that the air is hitting the front, and this front area is so large that it has to figure out a way. Is it going over? Is it going under? Is it going around? And in this case, the air is hitting and it's coming around the sides. I see some coming up from, a little bit of air coming up from the tire area. So that's at 80. Let's see if we get see something different as we crank it up. This is at 107 miles per hour. And what I thought would happen is happening. So if you look at this second airstream, it's hitting the front and coming up, and it's not really sticking to the body of the car. It's just flowing up and detaching right away. It hits there, comes up, and it's not staying down. It's just coming away from the car. So let's turn this up even further. Up to 174 miles an hour. And you can just see the air is hitting this front area, and that's not going to help this car at all. Air is flowing all over the place, and it just really isn't going to be it's definitely not going to be a threat on the track. That's absolutely for sure. But yeah, I'm going to turn it around and see. I'm going to turn it around and see if there's a different look to it, because then we're reducing that frontal area. If we turn it around, that back area is still huge, and the front area is not ideal, but when you compare it to this end, the real front end, this is minimal. So let's see what happens with this way. And I'm thinking that if somehow the air even makes it up to start to flow over the back end, I think it's going to come here, and we're going to see the same thing where it's going to just separate right here. It's not going to hug this area and continue on to the back. At least that's my theory, but we don't have to leave it as a theory for much longer. I am going to drop it in. Yeah, this is our first car that's run backwards, so we'll see what it's about to do. And there are some with the before I created a launcher, we had the launcher that we were using. There were some cars that wouldn't stay on the track, and because those cars wouldn't stay on the track, sometimes the kids would have the option to run the cars backwards, and there were a couple of cars that actually did better running backwards than they did forwards. I forget which ones offhand, but there are a few. All right, so this is actually at 94 miles an hour, and I don't know, I'm trying to see, because if we're looking at that second airstream, it's not even hitting the back of the car. It's going straight up to the hood, and so then we do see the airflow right over the top. I think I'm going to lift Well, first we'll look at this, and then I'll lift the car. So now we're up to 134 miles per hour. And I think I would have to, if someone were going to pick this car and race it, I would have to advise them to race it backwards, because there's definitely appears to be less drag and you have a reduced frontal area. So this makes more sense to me to run it backwards. And coming up over the top here, we're seeing that. So that's at 147. Let's take it up to 188. And so this second airstream is flowing just right over the top. There's separation, but it's not an extreme amount. But this first airstream, see, it's hitting, and then the air, some of it's coming over the top, some of it's going around the edge. I presume some's going under the bottom. But now what I'm going to do, I'm going to lift this car up just a little bit. And we will take a look and see if there's any difference in terms of the airflow. So I'll put this magnet right there. And what this helps to do is it lifts the cars up just enough that that first airstream usually hits the bottom of the bottom of the car, as opposed to if I leave it in there. Most of the cars, if I leave them in there the normal way with nothing underneath, then what happens is that first airstream is hitting the top, the middle to top of the grill, and not really getting a lower look at what the air is doing lower down on the car. So we've boosted this up just a little bit, and let's see, what are we seeing? Anything noticeably different? Let's see. So this is at 40 miles per hour. And so now we have that first airstream hitting the car and appears to just be going underneath. It's most likely interacting with the magnets, so that's not really giving us a whole lot of information because the magnet obviously wouldn't be there. And then the air is, you can see it coming out from around the sides of the tires. That first, or the second airstream, is the one I'm interested in. It's the one that's hitting kind of right in the middle upper part of the grill and then flowing right up over the top. That's at 107. Let's see what happens as we turn it up. So now up to 147, and yeah, I think there's no doubt. I would absolutely run this car backwards. There's not any question, and we may have to do that on Saturday when we have the races, because I just want to see what happens with this car. I don't think it's going to be fast, and it may be too wide to even fit into the launch channel, but if it does fit, running it backwards is absolutely the way to go. There was way too much frontal area when we ran it the correct way, and turning it around backwards might actually even help it get a better launch because there's more surface area pressed up against the launcher. So this is, you move this, kind of can still see. I think the air coming out from beneath the wheel has a lot to do with the magnet beneath the car, but you can kind of see there what we're getting. And yeah, I would run this car backwards in a heartbeat, and I think we'll do that on Saturday. So this is up to 188 miles per hour, and might as well go all the way to the top. This is at 228 miles per hour, and there's separation, there's some turbulence, but it is far less than what we saw with this car when we had it turned the correct way. So if this car, and now I'm bringing it down, we're down to 94, down to 80, and shutting it down there. So yeah, this is interesting because I thought with the teardrop type shape, that when we had this running forward, when we had it turned forward, that we might see the air hit that front part of the car and just stick with the body at least until it got to the windshield. But that isn't what happened. Air was coming off the car in all kinds of ways. There was a lot of turbulent air and a lot more drag with this thing. So we flipped it around backwards. And once we did that, we saw a much better aerodynamic profile and airflow pattern with this car. And even there you can kind of see loosely that teardrop as it comes down, but it's not perfect, but it's close. But anyway, I think that when we run this car, which we will do because I just checked and it fits into the launching channel. So I think we're going to run this car backwards. I don't know how well it will do because of the size and the weight, and it really depends on the matchup that it has. Which car is it going to end up racing against? But you have some say in that, because if you go to atthetrack.live, if you select the choose a car option, and then you go to that page, which is this page here, you can scroll through, you can look through all 820 something, maybe 26, 27, maybe 828 cars that we have in the All About Aerodynamics at the Track Live fleet. Find the car that you think would be faster than one of the cars that we have introduced into the fleet, a car that's faster than the other viewer picks, which includes Roughshod's pick of the two Jets. He saw both cars in the wind tunnel, and he decided, you know what, he was sticking with the two Jets, and then if that doesn't work out, then he can always come back to the carbide. But we are going to have the two Jets take on the cars that are introduced on Saturday at 11 a.m. on YouTube and Twitch, and those cars will be trying to get the opportunity to take on and to take out this car, the Gazella R. That is our fastest and fleet champion. It's been our champion for the last 16 weeks. This is going to be the 17th week, and in this 17th week, it is going to take on the former fastest in fleet car right here, the Blitzspeeder. The Blitzspeeder is going to have the opportunity to take its title back. These are the two fastest cars that have ever touched our track, and they are going to be the two cars that are going to go head-to-head for the fastest in fleet title. But we are also going to be introducing 6 more cars into the fleet, and we have Roughshod's pick of the two Jets, and if you pick a car, then your car can be entered in, and we will have this champion versus champion rematch. But that doesn't mean that these two cars, or one of these two cars, is guaranteed to come out of Saturday as the champion. You can pick a car that may knock one of them off. I'm going to be going into storage. I'm going to grab some cars, pull those out, and see if I can find a car to knock both of these cars out. And maybe we'll have a new fastest in fleet champion, or maybe we'll just confirm that the Gazella R, that car right there, is the fastest Hot Wheels car on the planet. And we are going to find out. So once again, you can tune in this Saturday live on YouTube and Twitch and watch the races at 11 a.m. Pacific. The Gazella, the Blitz Speeder, the rematch. We're going to have this Hot Wheels car running backwards. We're going to have the two Jets car. We're going to see if we can get through a race and not destroy the axles. Who knows what's going to happen? You can pick a car. I'm going to pick a car. We're going to race the cars, having fun with Hot Wheels, sprinkling in a little bit of science. And that is what All About Aerodynamics is all about. If you would like more information on our program, all you have to do is go to aerodynamics.com, and all of the information about the program is there. I just updated it. There's some new videos, some new information, more streamlined. So if you want to find out how to bring our program to your school or your organization or your special event, all you have to do, go to it's on this side, aerodynamics.com. If you want to watch us race Hot Wheels cars, if you want to participate, all you have to do is go to atthetrack.live, and you will have all the options you need on Saturday morning. Go to atthetrack.live, and you will have the links to either watch on YouTube or Twitch. If you want to see your car, your potential pick in the wind tunnel, if you're trying to decide between two different cars and you want to see them in the wind tunnel, exactly what Roughshod did. He had two cars, two very different cars, put them in the wind tunnel, took a look, examined them, made up his mind, went with the two Jets. So we are going to have those races on Saturday. It is going to be a lot of fun. If you're into Hot Wheels, and especially if you're one of those collectors, if you're a Hot Wheels enthusiast collector who never opens your cars, this is the place for you. All you have to do is tell me which car you want. I'll crack it open for you. You keep yours pristine, mint on card. Don't worry about it. I'll open the cars. I'll take them to the track. We'll race the track. You can watch it happen live Saturday, 11 a.m. Pacific. So, until we get to Saturday, I am Coach James for All About Aerodynamics, for At the Track Live, and for Wind Tunnel Wednesday. I will see you at the races.